Got a Wharncliffe Endura here, VG10 steel. It's one of the Lone Ranger's knives. I'm going to sharpen it up using the Pride Abrasive stones tonight. So I brought out my sharpening pond so I could keep them all soaking wet without having to constantly add water to them. I can just reach in here, dump water on them as I go. Unfortunately, my camera angle gets a little funky because of the height of this bucket. So if things look awkward, I do apologize. This is VG10 steel, pretty easy to grind on. So I'm not going to start with a super coarse stone. The stones that are from Pride Abrasives are already a little coarser than, say, the Japanese counterpart. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the 600 and then work our way through it. Now, of course, I'm not going to use every single stone in this bucket, but having them all ready to go gives me a variety. I can choose with what I want. For example, if I start using this stone and it's not cutting fast enough, well, I can jump right back in and grab a 220 without having to wait 30 minutes for it to soak. With Wharncliffes, you ordinarily want to do one continuous stroke like this. But this knife actually has the slightest, just the very slightest amount of belly, so that's going to cause me to have to raise the handle up just a hair. Another thing to note is it's not 100% dead flat. There's a little bit of a gap right here, a little bit of a gap right here. It doesn't really affect the performance or anything, but it is something I noticed. I don't want to raise my hand too much when I get near that tip, otherwise it'll start to create a belly and a smile, and that's exactly what we don't want. I haven't reached the apex yet, but I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the other side. Just get started. Looking at the scratch pattern under light, the bevel on the show side is really out of whack. I'm not sure what caused that. It's like the angle changes. Hopefully that won't be a problem or cause distortion in the bevel sizes. If it does, I may have to increase my angle on this side, which I'm kind of doing right now anyway, just to see if I can get down to it. I've got a burr formed on both sides. I think this bevel's going to give me problems as I go forward, but we'll see what happens. It is a pretty steep angle too. So I'm going to go from the 600 to the 1K. Probably not going to spend a whole lot of time on this stone just because the next one's going to pretty much clean up the scratches the way I want, but I just want to see, I kind of want to see how bad this bevel's going to be. Since things aren't quite lining up the way I was expecting. Now this side is almost perfect. No complaints, everything's lining up just the way you want it to. This side, on the other hand, it's like it's two different angles. The original angle and what I'm sharpening at. And what I'm sharpening at is not matching. What I'm going to have to do is sharpen this at two different angles. The angle where the apex actually is, and then I'm going to have to drop it a little bit just to blend it in. I could just go ahead and sharpen it at that second angle, but if I do that, the bevel on this side is going to be much larger, much broader than the bevel on the other side. It's just easier to keep it just like it is and blend it back together. Nobody's the wiser. Well, except for you guys, because I told you. I don't think you'll let anybody know though, will you? Okay. And here we have the 8000 grit. I really like the color of this stone. You can really see as the steel is removed. You can see the swarf develop on the stone. And I use my rust eraser to clean some of the swarf off. And this thing got a crazy glazed feel. I said I was going to test that at some point, and I've used it a couple of times, but I haven't experienced any problems until just now. So I'm using a Zatoma 140 now. I'm just going to lap the top of it. I'm not sure if this is going to help, but it can't hurt. I'm just going to hit the sides real quick with this rust eraser. Yeah, that's much better. I got a creamy feeling now. No longer like sliding on glass. So that rust eraser, although it's handy dandy for removing swarf from your stones, I'm finding that it tends to glaze them. I think I'm going to have to quit using that guy. Maybe use it on just my diamond matrix stones, like my Veneve. Get that out of my reach so I don't try to use it again. this is going to be the final stone for this knife. This is the 10,000 grit. This is more comparable, in my opinion, to like a 5,000 grit Sharpening Pro. Although, I think it's rated at 0.5 micron. So it is very, very fine. Very little cutting actually occurs. But the polish that it leaves is more in line with a Sharpening Pro 5K. I believe the Sharpening Pro 15K, it doesn't say, but I believe that one is like 0.7 or 0.8 micron abrasives. So it's closer in terms of abrasive size to this stone, but the polish it leaves is just leaps and bounds better than what this stone does. That's not to say this polish is bad. I really, really, really like the polish this stone produces, and I was actually using it quite often for most of my knives for a little while. Just the fact that you gotta soak it though is kind of made me neglect it recently. I think we're just about done here. I'm going to be stropping just on white compound. $112. $154. $125. So the average came out to $130. Not as low as what I've been seeing lately, but that's not bad, not at all. Please don't judge an edge based upon the numbers that thing reads and that alone. There's more to it than that. That thing just gives you kind of a starting place to judge sharpness. Really, the only way to really tell how sharp a knife is to have it in your hand and feel it for yourself. I've said that thousands of times. I'll say it 1,000 more. Don't put all your eggs in the basket of that edge-on-up edge tester. Now, even I myself have personally said I would prefer to see my edges around 115 or lower. And again, that doesn't tell the whole story of how sharp a knife is. I'm gonna bring you guys down. We'll take a look at this bevel. It's hard enough to keep the edge straight on a Wharncliffe, let alone get it sharp too. I think this turned out pretty well, much better than I anticipated. Right here you can kind of see at the tip that double bevel thing I was talking about, where my edge wasn't lining up with the factory. I'm still not sure what was going on there. It's like it was sharpened at two different angles, because the edge was at the angle I was sharpening at. There was no doubt about it, but then you had that more shallow angle that the shoulder had scratches at. So I don't know, one of those oddities. And Spyderco knives here lately seem to have them a lot. I don't know if it's just because I'm sharpening more Spydercos recently, or if there's something else going on. VG10 takes a really nice polish. And it does get keen.